okay? Everybody say V-I-C-T-O-R-Y. Come on, y'all. V-I-C-T-O-R-Y.
Online 24/7. Tag Community Voice Radio. The radio station for Thurex BAME community. Subscribe, listen live, and download our app from the Apple and Google App Stores.
Hello listeners, welcome to this week's edition of Family Values, coming all the way to you from Tag Radio station in Essex, United Kingdom. This program will be aired regularly. I remain your hostess, Ehi Charlotte Adenirego. Thank you for tuning in. Last time there was a lady on as my guest that I interviewed. She's the one or the brain behind child parenting. So I interviewed her, and before then we were talking about education matters. Education matters, the need to educate ourselves, educate our children. And when we educate ourselves, we educate our children, we are educating the community, the society, and the nation. And we looked at the benefits of getting a proper education. And we're able to define education as being empowered or equipped with the right skills and knowledge to be able to accomplish a particular task for the purpose of innovation, creativity, and the rest. It cannot be overflowed. And a community that is educated is a community that is lightened up. It's a community that is not in bondage. It's a community that has been empowered to achieve greater and mightier things. So the need for education cannot be overemphasized or underestimated. It's very, very important for we to get the appropriate education and to also empower our children, our generation. And I pray that the grace to do it, we will have it. So that's what we have been talking about for some time. Today, by the grace of God, because we've talked about siblings relationship, child parenting, discipline, and the rest, education. Today, we'll be talking about a very big one, which has to do with marriage. Marriage. That's what we'll be talking about today. Preparing for marriage. So let's get started. We're going to be looking at preparing for marriage. So, preparing adult children for marriage. We may say, what is marriage? Why marriage? Why should we get married? How do you prepare for marriage? We'll look at the benefits of marriage. We'll look at some cultural significance of marriage, especially in the African families or in the African settings. We'll also be looking at the role of communication and compromise in marriage, how significant they are. We'll be talking about those ones, and we'll look at the benefits and maybe some quotes about marriage. That's what we'll be doing today. So let's get started. Now, what is marriage? What is marriage? I want to say this is from my own perspective. Marriage is a union between two people. It's a union between two people, and in most cases, two opposite sex, for the purpose of companionship and children, raising godly and goodly children. That is actually the purpose of marriage. It is otherwise known as wedlock or as matrimony. The process of or the ceremony is known as wedding. The process or the ceremony you do before you start living your married life is known as wedding. The wedding can be legal, which is most of the time they refer to it as the court marriage. The wedding can be cultural, which is what they also refer to as traditional marriage, or white wedding, which is normally the church one, the spiritual one, the church one. So whichever one you decide to do, some people do all of them, some people do one, some people do two. Irrespective of the one you have done, it is still a marriage and it is binding. The Lord will help us. So broadly known as the union of two people or two partners living together for the purpose of companionship and bringing up godly and goodly children. I'll be specific about the union of man and woman. The union is a close and intimate relationship. This union is close and intimate, as I've said, between two people involved. And they can be known as a couple or a spouse. And generally, from creation, is meant to be between a man and a woman. It is only a man and a woman that can bring up, that can get pregnant and then bring up children. So between a man and a woman. And that's what I'll be looking at today. It's a contract or agreement between two people living together. It's a contract. If both of you don't agree, you can't come together to start living together as husband and wife. There has to be agreement between the two of you. And then to consummate that agreement, that's when you go and do your wedding. Maybe traditional, as we have said, culturally, legally, court marriage, or white wedding or spiritual wedding, as the case may be. So what is the purpose of this marriage? The purpose is to love yourselves. It doesn't mean if you are not in a marriage, you cannot love. You can love, but you have to define it. You doing what you are not supposed to do when you are not in a marriage, it's not right. So, for companionship, have somebody to share your concerns with, your feelings with. You have somebody to be intimate with. You have somebody to discuss with. You have somebody to sharpen and to quicken. You have somebody to encourage. Either way, either you doing it or somebody doing it for you. That is part of why we want to marry. You want to create a conducive atmosphere, a conducive environment, a stable environment to be able to bring up your children. That's why I said godly and goodly children. Talking about goodly, we are looking at the moral aspect of bringing up children. Our children must be morally balanced, they must be morally sound. Because you are living in a society, and that society you are living in, there are some expectations. And then when you bring up your children, it is your duty as parents to make sure you nurture your children, you bring them up properly so that they will not offend the society, offend the land, or offend their parents, or offend God. And you must teach them godly values. What is your faith? Are you a Christian, a Muslim, or as the case may be, you have to teach them your values. They need to know them. Very important. That is why that environment is important. A father, as I always say, is a father. A mother is a mother. The role can never be usurped. That is, a woman will not become a man and be doing exactly what a man is expected to do. No. If God knew that a woman would be able to do everything as a man, He wouldn't have made a man and a woman. So a woman has a role, a man has his role. These two must come together to bring up a child. And that child must be imbibed with godly values and goodly values. Very important. So that they will be able to fulfill purpose. The Lord will help us. So these are some of the things we have to know. Having a sense of belonging and responsibility, very important when going into marriage. To be able to support one another, to be companion with one another, to form a formidable team. To be able to overcome emotional challenges, health challenges, financial challenges, to fulfill purpose, for the purpose of security, for the purpose of help. I'm a Christian. My Bible tells me, it says, can two work together except they be in agreement? So when you come together to marry, you must be in agreement. And when you are in agreement, honestly, it says one shall chase 1,000, but two shall chase 10,000. I don't know who can fathom this mathematics. That's to tell you there's power in unity. So what I cannot do alone, when we come together as spouses, when we come together as husband and wife, we'll be able to overcome that mountain. That is why marriage is very important. At the time of your loneliness, at the time of your stress, at the time of your discouragement, there's somebody to encourage you, there's somebody to lift you up, there's somebody to give you a pat on the back, there's somebody to encourage you, which is your spouse. So the need for marriage is really very important. And if you want your community, your society to grow, you must encourage marriage. Because a marriage, before you know, the children will start coming. And before you know it, from parents, you become grandparents. From grandparents, you become great-grandparents. And like that. So it's very, very important. And in most cases, when two people come together, they are just two. Before you know it, they give birth to one, they become three. They give birth to two, they become four. They give birth to three, they become five. So there's power in marriage. We'll be looking at some truths later on about marriage. Let's quickly talk about some cultural significances of marriage in African families. What are these cultural significances in marriage in some African families? In African families, because I've experienced both the African culture and the British culture to some extent, there are some differences that I've noticed. I'm going to, the list is inexhaustible. I'm going to just try and, enumerate few of them. Please, let's remember, if you want to make phone calls and contribute or ask questions, please feel free to do so. And our phone number is 079-200-26407. The other number ends with 06, which is 079-200-26406. So it's at the extreme end, we have two different numbers. Or at the very end, we have two different numbers. One is ending with 07, the other one is ending with 06. So the number again is 079-200-26407. Okay. So when we are looking at cultural significance of marriage in African families, we're looking at in terms of arrangement. How do we get to know our potential spouse? Or how do we get to know who we want to settle with for life? In African setting, there are some families that believe that the parents must be the one to choose your wife for you. It's allowed. I've seen such marriages that are very, very successful. Even biblically, there were places where they were advised to go back to their kindred to go and get a wife for their sons. So it's allowed. So there are some African settings that still believe in such. Like families or communities, we know ourselves, we've grown up in the same area, we know our likes, we know our dislikes and everything. And then they will now arrange and say, okay, why don't my son marry that your beautiful daughter, that your well-educated daughter, that your daughter, we've seen her, she's well brought up, we want to marry her. So some African settings can make such arrangements. There's nothing wrong with it. You can also find your own spouse and say, this is the spouse I found, mommy, daddy. You bring him home, and then they will also cross-examine that spouse you found, and they will now approve and say, yes, I think it's good enough. It's from a good home. Why not? So these are things they do in African setting. But in the British setting where, I came down to live after some time, I've not seen this type. You just find your own spouse, and then maybe you just go to the court, and then you just marry. In African setting, they talk about bride price. I have not heard about it in the, where I live now, paying of bride price. But in African setting, there's paying of bride price. And the bride price people pay is not as if they're selling their daughter to you. Some people will say, I bought you. No, you can never buy a human being. It's not possible. It's not possible. So, you maybe the other commitments they make, maybe in their vows or whatever. But in African setting, they believe in bride price. You pay bride price. You see the mother, you appreciate her for bringing up that daughter in such a wonderful way and everything. And then maybe you give her something to appreciate her, the man too, the same thing. Some people may tell you, like, I remember many years ago when I wanted to marry, my husband was asked to bring 240 pounds. 240 pounds cannot even buy you one good wrapper. But that was a bride price as at that time. So it's not as if they are selling their daughter. It's just like a commitment. I've seen these good fruits in your compound. I want to have it. Please let me have it. And then they'll say, okay, if you want to have this fruit, bring so and so. And then you bring it just to say, thank you for allowing me to come into your family. So in other settings, they may not have such. And then they prepare the wife. They tell her what it entails to be in a marriage, how to take care of your husband, how to cook for him, how to prepare the home, how to take care of the children, how to clean, all these things. They prepare the wife ahead of time. And then in African setting, you cannot just, maybe you are still a minor and you say you want to marry. No, you must be of age to be able to say, yes, you want to marry. But in other settings, you can see somebody else for 16, 17, 18, they say they want to get married. But in African settings, 17 years, you can't say you want to get married. No. They want you to have maybe gone to school, acquire skills, make sure you are able to take care of the family you are anticipating to have before they release you to go and marry. So these are some of the things I've noticed in the African setting that may not be there in other settings. Is very important. So in African setting, they want to know, how ready are you? How ready you want to go into marriage? Are you ready? For the men father, you are 27, 28, 29, 30 years. Doesn't mean you are ready for marriage. You may not be matured to go into marriage. Marriage is commitment. Marriage is not for small boys, because there will be challenges. You don't jump into marriage and jump out. No. Marriage is a lifetime journey. So that is why you must be well prepared and guarded before you go into it. It's very, very important. Financially, are you able to go into marriage? Some people may say, oh no, I don't need to have money. Maybe the woman I will marry is the one that will bring me the money. Yes, I agree. But you must have fortified and empowered yourself, so that if the money hasn't come now, in the very nearest future, it will come. When you have children, nobody is going to help you to take care of the children. It's like we have a set of quadruplets in Africa we take care of currently. For the man is the first child. For the woman is the first. Their first delivery, 4 at once. And this man is just a petty mechanic. The wife is a hawker, just sells things. And so immediately the man heard the woman has 4 children, he ran away. We had to bring him back from the border home. He was crying like a baby. Why should God give me 4? I didn't ask for 4. God has the final decision. If we had a say in it, peradventure would have said, God, give those 4 children to the very rich and wealthy, which is maybe, yes, that's what thinking humanly, that's what we would say or recommend. But this is a guy that doesn't really have anything financially. 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. So we solicited for help. We started helping them. Recently, he wrote to me and said, the money he is getting on a monthly basis, the children have grown now. They are like 4 years old. More commitment. The environment is becoming more hard in terms of financial freedom and the rest, that more money is needed for the children upkeep. I get it. Yes, he's not the only one complaining. Almost everybody's complaining in that environment that things are hard. There's inflation and the rest. Yes. But he's not doing anything very reasonable. For how long will you continue to give somebody fish? You need to teach him how to fish. And then he said, okay, I want to go into taxi business, which is a good one. But he doesn't have any money saved. He said, if he doesn't get the money, he will run away and leave the children. Then I called him, when you run away and leave the children, who are you leaving them for? They're your responsibility. When you were not, financially prepared, you were not empowered, you were not ready, why did you have to go and be sleeping with a girl? Without protection, these are the consequences. You've got to face it. We can only just support and help. But you are first and foremost responsible. That is your family. He started crying again like a baby. But that was the bitter truth. So that is why it is good for you to be financially, buoyant, financially stable to go into marriage. You may not be seeing the finances now, but there are systems in place that will make you not to suffer, that will make you to be able to take care of your children. So that tomorrow those children will not turn back and abuse you and say you are an irresponsible father. A father that cannot care for his family, the children will call him irresponsible. The wife will call him irresponsible. In fact, the Bible says it's worse than an infidel. So it's very important for us to be financially ready for the journey of marriage we want to embark on. Emotionally, we must be emotionally ready. You see, some people, they are very immature, they are not ready at all, and they want to go into marriage. No, it's better you spend some few more years, get yourself together, know what you want to go into, empower yourself, fortify yourself before you launch into marriage. Because, as I said before, marriage is not for small boys. No, because there will be challenges in marriage. You cannot avoid them. There are different types of challenges in marriage. Different types. If I have time, maybe I'll talk about a few of them before I round up. You must be, what about your family history? Very important before you go into marriage. So your family history is good, you know it. The African setting, they want to know this type of thing. This family you want to go to, what is their family history? Is it a family where they have mental sicknesses? Is it a family where they don't believe in education? Is it a family that are prone to, public menace? Or they are involved in public menace? Those that can fight outside, they don't care. And your family is that reserved one. Do you think you can blend with such a family? These are things that family check in African settings before they allow you to go into marriage. They want to know the ethnicity of, the opposite sex you are trying to go into. They want to know their religious background. Very important, their religious background, because you must be speaking the same spiritual language. If not, the marriage may crumble along the line. Very important. What about job security? You are not working, the woman you want to marry is not working. So he's going to be taking care of the home, your parents that will soon retire or that are retired. Let's be real. So you must be working. You must be gainfully engaged. Very important before you want to go into marriage. So that you not come back knocking on mommy's door and daddy's door and be begging for little things you are supposed to have been able to provide. And I pray you will not become irresponsible by the grace of God. So, how parents can prepare their children. How parents can prepare their children. We've just talked about the African setting. And like I said, the list can be inexhaustible. And it also depends on where you are from. I've just given a general overview. Now, how can parents prepare their children for marriage? The first one I said, be good role model. Very important. You cannot tell your children to divorce is not good, meanwhile you are divorced. You cannot tell your children be providing from your family. You are not providing for the family. You cannot tell your children be hardworking. You are not hardworking. You are an alcoholic or a smoker. Very important to be role models to your children. They are seeing, they are looking, and they are making up their mind. I want to be like daddy. I want to be like mommy. Can't you see how they are in love? Can't you see how they are working together, building together? This, be a role model to your children. Very important. Teach them good communication skills, effective communication skills. Teach them how to be good listeners. Don't be the only one talking, pa, 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 and you don't listen to anybody. Nobody knows it all. Very important. Teach them how to resolve conflicts. I don't understand how husband and wife will be in the same home and they are keeping malice. It's not very good. Teach them how to resolve issues. There will be conflicts. Let's not deceive ourselves. There will be. Because these are two people coming from two different backgrounds, two different beliefs, two different values. They are coming together to blend, to form one union. So they'll be shaking. But how do you resolve it? How do you blend together? How do you become one force? How do you speak the same language? So it's very important. Teach them how to resolve conflicts. Teach them how to be good listeners. Teach them how to speak effectively. Effective communication is when you say something and the person you are saying it to understands it, hears it, assimilates it, understands, and gives feedback. That's when communication is complete. So you send out a message, the message is received, and then there is a feedback. That's when communication is complete. That's when it is effective. Not just shouting, and then there's no complete communication. That is not effective. Recently, somebody was telling me, "Dad, do you know my daughter told me something?" I said, "What?" He said, "Since then, I've not been myself." I said, "What did your daughter tell you?" He said, I told my daughter I want to talk to her. And she said, "Daddy, are you sure you want to talk or you want to back?" He said that made him to feel so bad with himself. So does it mean he has been backing? So I said, you see, you must always put yourself in the other person's shoes all the time. Empathy. I don't want to be backed at. I may have even done the wrong thing, but your manner of approach will make me to listen and take corrections on board. But if you talk to me in a way as if you have already condemned me, in a way as if it is not resolvable, there's no more restoration, no hope, then I'm not going to listen. Because you've already condemned me. You've already told me it's all over. Then what else? So let's be mindful of our children, especially the young adults we have, the way we approach them. Let's make sure that the environment is conducive. Let's make sure, there's privacy, if possible. Because they are no more children, they are adults. Let's make sure it is the appropriate time at the right time to talk to them so that they will listen. And when we want to talk to them, let's make it a dialogue, not confrontational. Let's make it a dialogue. Let's talk. You talk, I listen. I talk, you listen. Then we agree. Very important. May our children not see us as backers, but as reasonable and responsible parents. Okay. Teach them the need for patience. Very important. Let's teach our children the need for patience. The need for transparency. Be open. That's why I said as parents, be role models. You are going to zone A. You tell your wife you are going to zone B. And then something happens. They now find out that you were in zone A, but you told her B. That's not being transparent. Your salary. Most men will never tell their wives their salary. And I start to wonder, why? Do you have another home? If this is the only home you have, why don't you tell your wife, this is what I get? Because she will assume and think you get so much and start to plan for so much. And you cannot do so much. And then there will be conflict in the home. Why? Because you've not carried her along. So it's very important for you to let your wife know. It's your home. You are building it together. You're building it together. Let your children see you being transparent. I'm not saying go and tell your children how much you get. At least let your wife know. Because both of you are planning on how to run that home. May the Lord help us. So teach your children the need for patience, the need for transparency, the need for integrity. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Very important. The need for respect. Let them see you respecting their mother. Let your children see you respecting your husband. Then they will emulate. Then they will know that there is need to respect one another. But when you start using F word for your husband or your wife, your children are looking. They think it's the norm. And tomorrow they go and do it to somebody that is coming from a home where they don't have any of this. Then there will be conflict. So please do have respect for one another. And even have respect for children. Who told you that it's only children that should have respect for parents? Parents too must have respect for children. But it's what type of respect? That's what we're talking about. I'm not saying go and kneel down for your children. No. But at least respect by listening to them. Considering their own opinions when you want to take some decisions. Making them involved in some things. Children involvement in the home is very important. Sometimes you'll be shocked. I think I've said it before. Before we didn't used to include my daughter when we want to maybe want to go on holidays and everything. Then one day she came up and said, "Mom, do you know so and so?" I was like, "How did you know?" He said, "Oh, I did it for my friend. They want to go on holiday and we went on there. We checked and everything. Good deals." What? Since that time we started involving her. What would have costed us like 1,500, 1,008? This girl can come up and we'll find it at 700, 600. Good discounts. Since that time, she's the one in charge of holidays. We want to go, say, I want to go on holiday, oh, please find deals. And she comes out with wonderful deals ever since. So, children involvement, don't underestimate your children. Don't write them off. Don't think they don't know anything. They know so much. God will help us. Humility, be humble. As a man, a lot of men are like, they want to booga. When they offend their wife, they can't say sorry. Be humble. When you offend, nobody is above offense. When somebody tells you sorry, let it go. Especially in the home. Vice versa. Woman, be quick to apologize to your husband. "I'm sorry, dear. I didn't know it would be like this. It wasn't deliberate. I'm very sorry." And don't repeat it again. That's what shows you are sorry. But when you say you are sorry and you keep repeating it, then you are not sorry. The Lord will help us. Teach your children to be home keepers. No man wants to come back from home and meet a dirty home. A smelling home. The children are dirty, the nappies are dirty, they are soiled. Mommy is watching home video. Mommy is on the phone, ta-ta-ta-ta-ti-ti-ti. No man will be happy. So teach your children to be home keepers. Hoover the house, wash the beddings, clean the bathrooms, cook. All these things are very important. Do the shopping at the right time, the ironing at the right time, the laundry at the right time. And your home will be... I pray God will help us. Learn to cherish one another, to value one another. Teach them. Teach them to be committed. Love is not enough in marriage. Commitment, patience, humility, respect, integrity, transparency. All these are very important in marriage if you want your marriage to stand the test of time. Empathy. I talked about empathy before. Putting yourself in other people's shoes. Be ready to empathize with others. Teach them how to forgive. The big F. How to forgive. Just like as I said before, we are coming from two different backgrounds. So teach them how to forgive. We will definitely step on each other's toes. But the grace to forgive and forget and move on matters a lot. Let's not forget to phone in if we have any contribution to make or any question to ask. The number again is 079200264 07. And again, don't forget that we are on social media. Tag Radio is on social media. Let's go to those social media. Let's subscribe, let's like, and let's comment, and share it with other people. We are on Instagram, we are on YouTube, we are on TikTok. So we are on all the social media. So please, let's try and go there, subscribe, like, and comment. Share with your friends, please. That is the only way we can sustain this program on this platform. Thank you so much. Somebody has sent us a question. Wow, let's try and answer this question. He says someone has sent me, okay. He says the person is asking that how come most African parents find it difficult to apologize to their children, especially when they are in the wrong. This is also Africa, should I say African mentality. God will help us. That is the truth. A lot of African parents think they are always right. They know it better than their children. But it is not always the case. If you are wrong, be humble enough to accept that, oh yeah, in this situation, I'm wrong. Then apologize. Sorry. Then make appropriate adjustments. There is nothing wrong with you saying sorry. Because you are not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect person. We must learn how to say sorry when we are in the wrong. So African parents, please, let's not be like, my word is final. I've said it and that is it. No, it doesn't really work that way. Let us learn to say sorry. Let us be malleable. Let us be flexible. I'll be talking about it when I come to communication and compromise. Very important. Please, the Lord will help us. Okay, let's make some progress. The importance of prayers cannot also be overruled. The importance of prayers cannot be overruled because prayers will help us, we don't know it all. But when you now bring God into it, it will help you. Sometimes we have some complex children. Sometimes we have some stubborn children. Sometimes we have some children that have been influenced by peer pressure and they don't listen to us. But the power of prayer can bring them back. So I do not underestimate the power of prayer. So please, let's learn to bring in prayers in our bringing up our children. It's very important. Let's show them love. Let's show them love so that they can listen to us. They'll know that this thing mommy is saying, this thing daddy is saying it out of love because they love us. That's why they are correcting us. It's because they love us. That's why they want the best from us. And then you will see that it will work out very nice as we do so. Let us teach them how to be helpers. In marriage, there's need to help. Sometimes the man may not have job and the woman is the only one that is gainfully employed. Are you going to say you are going to turn your back on your marriage or your husband? No. So let's teach our children how to be helpers because a time will come that they will need to be helpers, which is very, very important. So it's important. Let's also teach them how to trust one another. If your husband says, I'm going to work, trust him that he's going to work. Don't go and start fighting him. Maybe because he comes in a bit late. You've not known the reason, you just start fighting. So let's teach them to trust their spouses, their partners. Never take advantage of one another. We must teach them that. Learn to live in unity, in oneness in your home. Be sensitive in your home. Learn to endure and do not compare. Do not teach your children not to compare. Oh, that family is doing it. They must be so like it doesn't work that way. So we want to go on a quick break and we'll be back very soon. Do not go far. All right. See you soon.
going through today. The sorrow, the hardship, the pain. But though the mountains crumble and the oceans rage, and war against my soul the devil may wage, though the tempest has turned my smile upside down, and my life like a river of sorrow in which I drown, yet will I stand, unshaken for as long as it lasts. Faithful is he that promised, and it shall come to pass. If God be for us, then who can stand against? The God who spoke all the earth into form. He said, let there be light, let it be bright, let there be day, let there be night. Out of the sound of his voice, birds, fish, and trees did come. The mountains, they melt like wax. The hills skip like young cows at the sound of the voice of the God that we serve. Our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. Besides thee, O Lord, we have no other.
Sing because I'm happy.
I sing because I'm happy.
I sing.
I sing because I'm free.
His eyes on me.
His eyes on the sparrow.
That's the reason.
That's the reason why I sing.
I want to know if you can help me say glory.
Glory, hallelujah.
You're the reason.
You're the reason why I sing.
Come on, say glory.
Glory, hallelujah.
Thank you, Jesus. You're the reason.
Why I sing.
Can we say it again? Someone asked.
Someone asked the question.
Oh, glory. Why do we sing?
Why do we sing?
When we lift our hands.
When we lift our hands to Jesus.
Oh, what do we really mean?
What do we really mean?
Someone may be wondering.
Someone may be wondering.
When we sing our song.
When we sing our song.
At times we may.
At times we may be crying.
And nothing's even wrong.
And nothing's even wrong.
This is the reason why I sing because.
I sing because I'm happy.
I sing because.
I sing because I'm free.
Oh, I don't know why he does it, but his eyes on.
His eyes on the sparrow.
Oh, that's the reason why I sing.
That's the reason why I sing.
Come on, let's say it again. Glory.
Glory, hallelujah.
You're the reason why.
You're the reason why.
Oh, hallelujah. I know I can get a witness in here. Glory.
Glory, hallelujah.
You're the reason, Jesus.
You're the reason why
I know I'm right about it. I just want to say glory.
glory, hallelujah.
I give the praises to you.
I give the praise to you.
Oh, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah.
Glory, hallelujah.
Online Online 24/7. Tag Community Voice Radio. The radio station for Thurex BAME community. Subscribe, listen live, and download our app from the Apple and Google App Stores.
Welcome back from this short break. Yeah, before I went on that break, we were talking about how to prepare the children for marriage, as parents. That's what I talked about. Once again, I want to say on our social media, please, let's not forget, we are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, please. And the way you can get us is to, type tag radio 1, tag radio 1, tag radio 01. Then you'll see we'll flag up. So please, as I said before, subscribe, like, and comment. And share with your friends and other people, please. So let's remember, we are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you. So I talked about how to prepare the children for marriage, the young adults for marriage. I've talked about that. Okay. And I said the role of communication and compromise in marriage. I've talked about communication. I want to talk a little bit about compromise in marriage. It's very important that we teach our children that there is need for compromise. What do I mean by compromise? Compromise is to be empathic. Compromise is to put yourself in other people's shoes, to be considerate in marriage, to be flexible. Don't be hard, don't be too rigid in marriage. Because, as I said before, two people coming together from two different backgrounds, two different values, as the case may be, you're coming together to build a home. So there will be fracas, there will be friction, there will be conflicts. But if you know what it means to compromise, then be able to handle it. Must be flexible. You must look at things from other people's perspective, not only your own perspective. You must be able to understand and endure with people. You must be able to tolerate other people. Very important. I know your spouse is coming maybe from a background where they believe so much in third-party involvement, and yours maybe is just you and your core family. So that's going to take a bit of, rancor. So what you try to do is to compromise. Okay, how do we work it out? How do we building this third party involvement? How do we handle it? You work with your partner, you work with your spouse, and you find out that it will just be beautiful. Like I said, African setting, you don't need to get permission from your children to go and visit them. But some other country, you need to write a letter, and then you need to be invited either formally or informally for you to come over. If you come without being invited, they may not welcome you. So these are different backgrounds we need to understand. And then, whichever background you come from, make sure you are ready to be flexible. If somebody comes to your house when you did not invite him, don't just call the police on the person or arrest the person or lock the door against the person in the rain. You may just discuss with the person and say, you didn't tell us you are coming anyway. Come in, but you won't be able to stay for that long. Be ready to be flexible. That's what I mean. And then maybe you are eating one particular type of food. Maybe you are married to somebody from a different race completely. And then maybe they don't eat what you eat. Be ready to adapt. Adapt to what they eat, and then they too should adapt to what you eat. And then there will be smoothness in the family. God will help us. I don't want to overflow that. So compromise is very important in marriage. It's very important. So we must teach our children the need for communication and compromise in marriage. Very important. So let's look at some quotes about marriage. Some quotes. This one says, a happy marriage is the union of two good forgivers, which is true. You must be a forgiver to be able to have a sustainable and long-lasting marriage. Very important, because as I said, conflicts will always be there. We will step on each other's toes. But the grace to forgive matters a lot. So if you are not a forgiver, you can't last long in marriage. But the moment you are a forgiver, then that marriage will last long we stand the test of time and we'll be happy. So please, let's learn that. This one says, keep your eyes wide before, I love this one, before marriage, and half shut after marriage. Which means after marriage, you will see some things. You must be able to tolerate, you must be able to bear, you must be able to overcome it. Overcoming it is looking for solution, a way out, while keeping your marriage intact. Anything that want to scatter your marriage, you must stand vehemently against it. Your marriage must be nurtured, just like you hold egg, a raw egg. You don't want it to fall down and get smashed. That is how you must cherish your marriage and hold it tight. Don't allow anything to scatter your marriage. Make sure you build your marriage. God will help us. This one says, marriage is like vitamins. We supplement each other's daily requirements. It's like vitamins that we use to supplement each other's daily requirements, which is true. So marriage is like vitamins. So if you cherish your marriage, you keep it, everything, you find out that your marriage will be making you happy. It's a place where you want to go to. That warmth is there. That welcoming environment is there. That beautiful home is there. Clean home, good food is there. You always want to go back. You always want to go home, irrespective of where you are. So let's try and make our marriage that vitamins that we need. Another one says, a perfect marriage is two imperfect people who won't give up on each other, which is true. That's what now makes it to become perfect. We won't give up on each other. We are in it already. We are in it. Let's work it out. Let's believe in it. Let's do what it takes to make it a success. Because somebody else's marriage did not work out does not mean mine will not work out. Because my mommy and my daddy's marriage did not work out does not mean my own marriage will not work out. When you have that mentality and that mindset, you find out that your marriage will work out. And I pray that our marriage will work out. Let's look at some benefits of marriage. We are out of time, so I will be making a bit of rush. Benefits of marriage. There are so many benefits of marriage. It can be physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, sexually. All these are benefits we can get from marriage, a stable home. Physically, we bring up children. Godly children, goodly children. Physically, it's a plus. Like I said before, both of you come together, husband and wife. Before you know, from 2, you become 3, you become 4, you become 5, you can become a community. So it's very good. It's one of the benefits of marriage. I talked about being, companionship, for the purpose of companionship. Very true. And research shows that married couples are less likely to have long-term illnesses. So if you don't want to have long-term illnesses, stay in marriage, stay married. And it's better, survival rate is better for those that are married, survival rate. Let's think about it. You are not feeling fine. You have somebody to encourage you, to comfort you, to get you hot water in the hot water bottle, to get you food, to, you will get better faster than when you are alone in the house. You are lonely. Even when you want a cup of tea, nobody to do it for you. You are just on the bed because there's nobody to help out. So whose survival rate will be higher? Of course, the one that has helper. That's why when you are in marriage, don't joke with it. Even when you have children, keep your marriage, keep your wife, keep your husband. The children will grow and go and have their own home. It will remain you and your husband in the house. So let's cherish our marriage. Very important. It will enable you to have better sexual life. If you are not married, maybe you'll be having it once in 6 months or once in a year, as the case may be. Because you are not married, where will you get the person to be having it with? But when you are in marriage, it's part of the benefits of marriage. So please, let's keep our marriage for better sexual life. And when you have better sexual life, it's not only for children's sake. It's a good relaxant. It's for pleasure. It's very good. So please, let's keep our marriage. And then people in marriage are happier and they have better high self-esteem and confidence. These are what research has shown. They are happier. I believe you want to be happier. They have better self-esteem, which is true. When they go to anywhere, they are able to introduce themselves confidently because they are married, they are successful, they are responsible. Is better. May God help us. And they have confidence in themselves. So, and it's also less loneliness and stress. Less loneliness and stress. And then less depression. Which is very, very true. So, in conclusion to what I've been saying, I want to say, know that marriage involves working it. Teach your children, prepare them ahead of time, that you have to work it. Nobody will do it for you. It's your home. You have to pay the sacrifice. It's sacrifice to have a happy home. And God will help us. Nobody has promised you an angel as a spouse. No. Or a perfect partner. No. But you work on it day by day, and you now find that you are getting better. You are getting better and better. We are all prone to fall, which is true. But the grace to rise up and sustain it, God will give it to us. We must have a forgiving heart, as we said before. We must be ready to build and be the role model. Be ready to build your home, your God-given home. Don't sell it for a plate of porridge, and God will help us as we do so. Recently, a man in America celebrated 72 years in marriage. 72. Wow. That person can be you. I challenge you as parents, as adults, wherever we are, that we can be that man, that woman that will celebrate 70, 72, 75, 80 years in marriage, even 100 years in marriage by the special grace of God. And with that, I want to say we've come to the end of today's program on family values. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you real good. And I want to appreciate our counselor, the brain behind Tag Radio. The Lord will bless you. And the production crew. Thank you so much for what you are doing behind the scene. Thank you. Until I come your way again, stay blessed. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.
Thanksgiving in my heart, I will enter his courts with praise. I will say this is the day that the Lord hath made. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. He has made me glad, he has made me glad. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. He has made me glad, he has made me glad. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. I will enter his gates with thanksgiving in my heart. I will enter his courts with praise. I will say this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. He has made me glad, he has made me glad. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad.